What is up, everybody? This is John with Archer Fish. Thanks for tuning in. I've got a lot of great content coming, so please subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. If you haven't caught my videos before, if you're new to the channel, go take a look at some of my stuff. I'll post some videos here on the little tabs and go check them out because I got a lot of great content and a lot of great bass fishing here in Southern California, and I got a lot of saltwater stuff in Florida, so if you like those, check them out. I got a Patreon that I'm just starting. The link is going to be in the description. Also, all my gear is going to be linked in the description as well. I'm new to the Patreon thing. I'm humbled that people have asked me to start one and how they can help endorse the channel. I really do appreciate it. So, you know, thanks again. And if you have any criticisms or comments or some help on the Patreon thing, please let me know. I hope you like my last video regarding how much money I make on my fishing YouTube. I've always been transparent about like where I'm fishing, how I'm catching fish. That's the whole idea of this YouTube channel for me, is to share what I'm learning and almost in real time so you guys can catch more fish, because that's what I would want and that's what I appreciate from fellow fishermen. Not just the stories, which I love and I love to tell, but, you know, the information. We all want to catch more fish and bigger fish. So that's why I do this. So, yeah, I wanted to be completely transparent with how much I make on my, you know, tiny little 1,700 subscribers, you know, and I hope that illuminates you guys as far as helping you decide whether you should start a YouTube channel and in the hopes of like making money or extra money or whatever it is. Because if you're gonna just record your fishing adventures, do it. I am all for it. I love watching that stuff. But if you're trying to do this as a career or to make, you know, thousands of dollars, I just wanted to give you that information because it is tough. All right, so today's video. This is finesse techniques. It is almost November, so we are in the middle of the fall transition right now, and it is one of the most exciting times of year for me. There's a lot of topwater going on. There's a lot of schooling bass chasing shad. They're trying to get fattened up for winter. That's what the fall transition is all about. It is these bass coming off of their summer haunts, and as you know, the bigger bass, they kind of pick a place to feed in the summer, typically deep or with access to deep water, and they just kind of hang out there. In fall, they're still doing that, but a lot of fish are schooling up, and a lot of fish are ganging up on the shad schools and moving around the lakes. As you saw in my last video at Kachuma, they're not quite schooled up there the way I've caught them last year, so I'm hoping that they will be very soon, because when you've got big schools of, you know, decent sized fish, and I mean, you know, 1-2 pounders, not tiny little dinks. Not that those are huge, but, you know, you get a school of 2 pounders and you're catching them every other cast. It is very, very exciting. So that's what the fall transition is all about. These fish are schooling up. They're trying to fatten up for the winter time, because when the water gets colder, the metabolism slows down and they don't feed as much. That's the whole key to the fall transition. So what I like to do, I've got a lot of exciting ways that I fish the fall transition, and I will start you off with my favorite. It is the crankbait. Okay, for whatever reason, I picked up a bunch of different brands that are very similar. Bass Pro Shop's got all kinds of deal on a very similar looking square bills, and I just didn't like them. They didn't feel right. I don't know what it was. Didn't catch as many fish, or maybe it's just my bias. But for whatever reason, the Strike King KVDs, I don't know if it's the little blood mark right there. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Anyway, these have been insanely successful for me. I like to start with the shad color pattern first. If the water's really clear, if it's not working or the water's not clear, a little bit, you know, murky, maybe you're fishing a windy point and it just is a little murkier than the rest of the lake, I will switch to the chartreuse. It has been very, very effective. These are basically the 2 colors I use. I've tried a couple other different colors. They just didn't produce, so I'm very superstitious. Let's just stick with what's been working. So I've got 2 sizes. I've got the 1.0 and the 1.5. This one is a 2 to 4 foot diver, and this is 3 to 5. Doesn't seem like a lot, but if bass are schooled up or they're suspended off of a point or a little rocky area,
it really does mean a lot. Especially if it's kind of shallower water, you may want to throw the shallower one, especially if you're throwing towards the bank and you're coming out. But again, I got two different sizes. I got the one up from this one too, if the fish are moving off the shore a little bit more. So this is my favorite fall transition bait now. It is just so much fun. I got a lot of videos catching fish on these, mostly from Kachuma. I do have some from Keitech, but mostly from Kachuma. All right, my other favorite, probably my second favorite, aside from topwater. So topwater is kind of a different animal for me because that goes throughout like summer and fall. So for topwater, I'll have a whole other video on that. So my other favorite fall transition bait is the jerkbait, and you know Lucky Craft is my favorite. I just tried a couple other brands that were very similar. Again, similar in look, in weight, in depth, in all of that stuff, in suspension, and they just didn't feel right. There was something about it. I don't know what it is with Lucky Craft. Maybe it's the little weights that they put inside there that just seem so specific. But these are by far my favorite jerk baits. I've got a couple different sizes. I don't have it behind me, but this is one of my favorite. It is the pointer, the flash pointer, and it is, let's see, 78 SP, suspending ghost minnow. My favorite. It's small enough that, it mimics some of the smaller baits, but it is big enough or heavy enough that you can really cast it. I caught great 6-pounder at Keitech Lagoon on one. I've caught tons of other fish on the Lucky Craft jerkbait. One of my favorites. I got a slightly larger one that I use too, and it's just as effective. I think it's the 110 pointer. Anyway, this is my second favorite jerkbait. I mean, it is such a fun bite. You know, when you're popping it off of a point or something like that, and you get smacked, or you find a school like I did at Kachuma a few months ago. They were all schooling off this point. It was overcast, so it's perfect conditions, and I was just getting hammered every single cast. So much fun. So this is number 2. Love the jerkbait. Number 3, and this kind of counts as a topwater, I guess, and that is the Fluke. Especially at Keitech right now. People were asking me how I rigged the Fluke at Keitech, and I will tell you. I have 2 different rods setups that I throw the Fluke on. This is a light rod. It's a Procyon by Daiwa. And I've got 6-pound fluorocarbon on here. Okay, a very tiny little reel. What is it, 2500 Sienna. It's a very old reel, but it works. But very light line on this rod. And the reason why is you need to be able to throw this. If you scope out the water and see what these fish, if they're blowing up like they were at Keitech a couple months ago, whenever I was there last, and they literally were boiling for over 3 hours, and I caught like 50, 60 fish. I could see the bait they were chasing, and they were tiny. It was shad, and they were tiny. So, this is your normal size Fluke. This is awesome, and it gives you a lot of weight to throw. This is your next size up, or it's a different style, I think, but it's your next size. Not bad. Still not matching the hatch. So I got the tiniest Fluke there is, and once I started throwing this, I was getting bit every single time, especially if there was just the slightest topwater, disturbance. One little boil, throw this in, let it sink like 6 inches, pop, pop, let it sink again, and getting hammered every time. So for those of you that have been asking, I'm using this tiny little Fluke on 6 or even 8-pound fluoro. Go the lightest route you can, 6-pound, even 4-pound. Just make sure your drag is nice and loose. And what I was doing was nose hooking them with a tiny little hook. I use size 4 or size 6, whatever I can buy at the store, right away. So tiny little hook. I hook this one down through the top because the bottom's kind of skinny, and very, right here. And that's what I do. I nose hook it, no weight, no nothing. And when you got a light setup like that, 6-pound test and a light rod and reel, you can really cast it to where you need to. It's not going to cast a mile, but it'll cast where you need to. And if you have to upgrade to the slightly larger one, you know, try it, because, you know, you'll get bit on this. And if you really need to, or if they're being really aggressive, or if it's overcast, they can't see as well, whatever it is, you know, or if it's early in the morning, you can throw the regular size fluke and get bit. Last fall, I got some great videos of just constant bass boils, and these were some nice sized bass. Every bass was like 2 pounds, if not more. And in the fall, when they're schooled up and chasing shad, you know, 2-3 pound bass is just hot. They're just burning your line. So super exciting. And I caught almost all of them on the regular size fluke. But again, it depends on the type of year, the time of year, and how aggressive they are and what the conditions are. The last year I was getting them all during overcast skies, and they were just feeding off of banks. So the cool thing is if they're not out in the open water boiling, if they're like, you can see them pushed up next to the bank, and maybe you can even see shad or birds, you know, you can use this sucker, cast it onto shore, and then kind of, you know, play it into the water real lightly. I mean, I was just getting hammered doing that at Keitech the last couple times. So that is my, those are my fall transition baits, my favorite ones. You got the tiny little fluke, slightly larger one, and then the normal size. These are all in the same color. It's like electric shad or something like that, but you can kind of see, you know, the color and all that stuff. Anyway, that is my fall transition baits. I'm going to do a drop shot setup on the next video so you can kind of see exactly, because you guys ask, even though I've got other videos, but hey, you're asking, I'm going to put the videos out for you. So if you like this stuff on this channel, please subscribe, like, you know, if you want to be a member, get onto the Patreon. I got, you know, there's all kinds of membership perks. You get like stickers and neck gaiters, hoodies, what else, mugs, things like that. And if there's any other merch that you guys are interested in, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I will see you tomorrow.